Hey guys, it's Mando. Today we are going to be exploring the Gimmick of my region, how it works, and what Pokemon can use the Gimmick. In the first part of this video, I'm going to explain what inspired the Gimmick and how it works properly in the game. In the second part, I'm going to elaborate on how the Gimmick would work in my hypothetical region. And finally, I'll explain what types of Pokemon will be able to use said Gimmick. Without further ado, let's begin with the lore behind it. The Gimmick I have chosen for this region is medallions. Now, I know I mentioned prior to this video that nothing from the two most recent chapters, at the time of recording, that I wouldn't be incorporating any chapter 5 or 6 elements into the region. Liar! However, I felt that there wasn't really a Gimmick that could properly work outside of medallions, so that's why I've decided to go with this. Medallions were introduced with the launch of Chapter 5 Season 1, and each individual medallion would give you a passive regenerating shield up to 50, and depending on how many medallions you were carrying, that would increase by 10, and each tick of healing would also increase by 1 point per medallion. However, this comes with the downside of leaving you exposed on the map, which would highlight yourself to every player with a bright golden ring on the map. Each medallion you carried would also impact how large the ring would be, becoming smaller and smaller as you carried another medallion. Additionally, each medallion had its own designated inventory slot rather than being an item you'd have to sacrifice a weapon slot for. As seasons continued, the medallions would change drastically. Rather than providing a simple shield regeneration, they would now provide the player with game-changing abilities. For example, in Chapter 5 Season 2, the aspect of agility would allow the user to gain an infinite amount of dashes. Yes, you heard that correctly. Infinite amount of dashes that will also protect you from fall damage. Yeah, there's a reason Resub called this the most OP medallion at one point.
The aspect of agility medallion is Fortnite's most overpowered item ever.
So how's this gonna work? In Pokemon, there are currently 4 main game-changing gimmicks, that being Mega Evolution in Generation 6 and soon Generation 9 with the new Legend ZA being released, Z-moves, introduced in Generation 7, Dynamax and Gigantamax in Generation 8, and finally the Terra gimmick. Yeah, let's just sweep that one under the rug. With medallions, they will have certain aspects that could help them diverse themselves from the rest of the gimmicks, while still reflecting some former gimmicks. Firstly, every single Pokemon type, not including the unknown type Terra and Stellar typings, will have their own individual medallion. The way this gimmick will work is that they're kinda similar to how Z-moves work, in which every single Pokemon can use a medallion and will gain a new move depending on said medallion. Secondly, their typings will change on the medallion the Pokemon possesses. For example, if I gave Steelix the Mind medallion, that being the Psychic type medallion, since Steelix's original type combo is Steel Ground, the second typing, being Ground, then becomes replaced by the type of the medallion. This means that depending on the Pokemon you give the medallion to, it could potentially severely benefit or detriment your Pokemon. Additionally, Pokemon with a single type, such as Pikachu, being pure electric, would gain a type. Let's use the Mind medallion again, and therefore Pikachu would become an electric psychic type. If a Pokemon that is usually water type uses the water type medallion, they would also gain an increase in stab when using moves of the same type. Third, there would be an increase by 15% in the 2 lowest stats of each Pokemon the medallion is provided to. However, with this benefit comes the cost of being able to be incredibly visible, so by increasing the 2 lowest stats, the 2 highest stats in which a Pokemon may possess would decrease only by 7%, as medallions are seen more as a benefit than a detriment to a character. Also, the Pokemon that would receive the medallion would glow the colour that corresponds with the type, so, again, Steelix would glow a purple colour to reflect the Psychic typing. Finally, perhaps the most crucial point to make when discussing the medallion gimmick, certain Pokemon will gain new forms when using them. A Pokemon that changes forms when given specific medallions are known as medallion forms. These medallion forms have exaggerated features such as Mega and Gigantamax Pokemon that expand further on their concept and design, whilst also incorporating new elements within their design. For example, an upcoming regional form, when given the Brutal medallion, or the Fighting type medallion, would go from being a Steel Flying type to a Steel and Fighting type, which makes sense within its concept as it expands it further and allows the trainer to fully realise this brand new form. Certain Pokemon only get these new forms when you give them these specific medallions. So if I gave this new form the Thunderbolt medallion, being the electric type, yes, it would change its typing to Steel Electric, but it wouldn't change the way this design looks, and it only gives it a coloured aura instead, but its stats would still change. My final point I would like to clarify with this gimmick is that each medallion has its own existing move and name that would be associated with each typing. Only the medallion forms would get new moves, however. Here is the list of the Pokemon types with these new moves, or existing moves even. The Plain Medallion, being the normal type, has the move Boom Burst. The Ash Medallion, being the fire type, has the move Blast Burn. The Hydro Medallion, being the water type medallion, has the move Aqua Cutter. The Thunderbolt Medallion, being the electric type medallion, has the move Discharge. The Forest Medallion has the move Chloroblast. The Frost Medallion has the move Aurora Beam. The Brutal Medallion has the move Aura Sphere. The Toxic Medallion has the move Acid Spray. The Terra Medallion has the move Dig. Terra as in Earth, not Terra as in type. The Soul Medallion has the move Air Cutter. The Mind Medallion has the move Extrasensory. The Infest Medallion has the move Bug Bite. The Stone Medallion has the move Ancient Power. The Spirit Medallion has the move Hex. The Scale Medallion has the move Twister. The Malice Medallion has the move Dark Pulse. The Iron Medallion has the move Iron Head. And finally, the Pixie Medallion has the move Play Rough. As of writing this script, I'm not too sure if I'll definitely keep these moves, but this is something I can always update in the future. Just a heads up for upcoming content, I actually return to college for my second year pretty soon actually. I think it's next week. So chances are uploads may be even slower than currently. So in advance, I apologise. But I will try and keep you guys updated when new ideas pop into my head. For now, designs are coming. I'm actually very hard at work with these new designs, so you should be able to see them fairly soon. With that said, hopefully you enjoyed this video and are excited to see these new gimmick forms in the future. I've got some exciting things planned. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you again next time.